uh, uh, you know, there's just something about a microphone that gets the juices flowing. And there's just something about Tahitian treat fruit punch and force factor. Score! Hardcore. Performance and libido intensifier. Stimulate blood flow. Increase stamina and endurance. Maximize libido and excitement. It is a 2.3 times increase in nitric oxide. Works tonight. Yeah. If you haven't listened to this podcast, Score Hardcore is formulated with premium ingredients that not only help boost energy, stamina, and endurance, but also work to maximize arousal and deliver an unreal libido boost. Key compounds have been shown to boost nitric oxide, helping to widen your arteries. Oh, I could actually use that a lot, especially down there. Maybe I should just take these as like a dietary supplement every day. And increase your heart rate to get the blood pumping where you need it most. Potent vitality compounds help ensure that blood pumps harder and longer to deliver the staying power you crave. This boost. This boost enhances sexual feedback and stimulation. Not simulation, folks. Stimulation. Like a stimulant. Giving you and your partner mind-blowing results. Guaranteed to impress. That's something my cousin said to me a while ago. You're blowing my mind. Or maybe that was AI her on the phone. Maybe I was hallucinating. Maybe I'm hallucinating this. That's an interesting thing, you know what I mean? You know, I sit here and I talk about, that was, directions. Take 4 tablets once daily with a meal or 30 minutes before activity. Huh. They smell like fucking... Dude, they smell like cow shit. Oh my god, dude. That is so horrid. Oh my god. Damn it, I missed. So if you want to not get hard at all, after taking 4 pills, those are the ones to take. Anyways, you know, I'm kind of back and forth on what to do. I'm kind of like just winging it sometimes. I've done a few serious episodes lately, so I'm trying to let loose. If you know what I mean, baby. And I think we're just going to do like, I was going to read off a bunch of mental illnesses that I have or don't have. Depends on if you're in a fake coma dream or not. But anyways. So, I just like to think back, you know, when I was a kid growing up. I always wonder what other people, I always wonder what people's first memory is as a child. I've never wondered that ever. Ever. Nobody cares about your first memory. Nobody cares about your last memory, which is just you, like literally just like, and then it's just black. I talked to a few people who, at least 3, maybe 4 or 5, probably closer to 5, who have literally flatlined. Beep. Like when you hear the heart rate monitor, when you're in the hospital, and you have your sense of hearing, and you can hear it beep, beep, boop, boop. So imagine just flatlined, which is almost like it's almost more comforting to hear that. Just long, drawn out beep while everybody rushes. They get on the intercom. Room 231, paging Dr. Blue. Dr. Blue, 231, Dr. Blue. That's what they would say when I was at Abbott Northwestern, this children's and young, the adolescent psych ward when I was a kid, 16 or 17. Paging Dr. Blue, you hear it all the time. Paging Dr. Blue in 451. Paging Dr. Blue. Paging Dr. Blue. 451. Now. And, people who don't really know the codes there at the hospital, I don't know why they just say 251. Come. Or why they don't just, install a microchip in the doctors and the surgeons and the nurses. And it beeps Morse code to go to which room when somebody's dying. Because that's what a Dr. Blue means. It means somebody's flatlining and they're going to die in the next 30 to 60 seconds if somebody doesn't save their life. So they just play it off. Dr. Blue, 991. Dr. Blue. Oh, yes, in the coma ward. It's better than, having your family pull the plug on you because they don't have insurance. And it costs $20,000 a month just to keep the machines running with insurance. Dr. Blue, they're either frantically bringing it up on the intercom, and you hear it fucking at least a dozen times a day, probably a few, 2 dozen, 3 dozen. A lot of people flatlining. I don't know what kind of hospital this is, but they don't seem to be the hospital that likes saving patients. Maybe they have a lot of organ donors in the hospital when I was staying there. It's a long list to that's why organ transplantation and selling of your internal organs, specifically the kidney, because you don't need 2 kidneys. Apparently that's why it's illegal in this country. Because there's such a long waiting list for all the people who need another kidney. It's a blue world without you. It's a blue. Yeah, tell me about it. Imagine without the old me. The boring pussy. Anybody ever been to Alaska? That's what they start. They just start asking questions on the intercom because all the patients have died. They just start being like, has anybody in this hospital, oh shit. Has anybody in the psych ward or the coma ward? Wait, is there still anybody in the ICU, the coma ward? That's where they keep all the coma patients usually. The ICU, I think. And they just start like playing 20 questions with all the psych ward patients. Because they're the only ones not dying in the hospital. Trust me, they would if they could. That's why they take all of your shoelaces and strings and sharp objects. I was there twice. 2 times. It's a real fucking hoot. And you just fucking sitting like a... God, what a fucking horror show. A buddy of mine was in there right before I was. So we didn't get to spend any time together. In the psych ward. It would have been nice if God could have timed that up a little bit better for both of us. I think it really would have been nice. Yeah, they would have hated us there. I remember my doctor or my psychiatrist, one of the two. I mean, he's like, you need to rule 25. Rule 25. Why do you smoke marijuana? Why do you smoke so much? And I'm like, I remember taking a questionnaire. So many questions. I think that's what the Rule 25... Was that what the Rule 25 is? Where you just answer so many fucking questions. But, Rule 25. Anybody ever been to a CMA? CMA. It's like coma, but without the O. It's anonymity. I can't talk about it. Rule 25 process. To receive funding and access to substance use disorder services. Huh. Anesthesia services. Can you just do an at-home delivery? Now this is when I start to question the validity of the internet. Start. All right, so I'm just going to read this website off right now. This is the dhs.state.mn.us. So it's Minnesota Department of Human Services, the official website. All right. Revised on June 27th, 2022. Rule 25 assessment and eligibility. A person must have a Rule 25 assessment and meet clinical and financial eligibility requirements to access services through Rule 25. Access. Refer a person to the Rule 25 assessment number or use the Rule 25 referral numbers, in parentheses here, DHS-5685, end parentheses, for a PDF file for the Rule 25 referral numbers. List to refer a social service agent. I'm going to talk about Jesus and God on the next episode, trust me. Trust in that warm feeling you get when you talk to Jay, the J-Man. And God, too, and the disciples and the Holy Spirit. I always forget them. I forgot the Holy Spirit was even a thing. List to refer a social service agency in the person's county or tribal nation of residence. The county agency or tribal nation determines the person's need for treatment by conducting a Rule 25 chemical use assessment and determines whether the person is eligible to have his or her treatment paid by using public funds. So, what that basically means is, if you don't think your tax money has gone to completely useless means in terms of giving $250 billion to a foreign shitbag country over there to fight a war against a country that can't really even seem to take like 10% of Ukrainian territory. They can't even really make a dent in over like 4 years. So that's where we're giving our tax money to. We're just printing it out at this point. So if you didn't think that was a sufficient way of tax-paying dollars, you can pay for some kid to go to rehab. Who just smokes pot. But that's the catch. That's the thing they don't tell you when you're in inpatient treatment for smoking pot. This is actually going to be a very positive thing for you in 8 to 9 years. All right, so this is what I was talking about, this part. MA, or Minnesota Care members who are receiving services through an MCO should contact their MCO for a Rule 25 assessment. The MCO will instruct them how to assess this assessment and the appropriate treatment services. MA, or Minnesota Care members who are not currently enrolled with an MCO should contact the Rule 25 assessment number at their county or tribal nation of residence to determine behavioral health fund eligibility. BHF, in parentheses, for Behavioral Health Fund. Non-public fund members may be eligible for the Behavioral Health Fund, BHF. BHF is based on 2 criteria: clinical need and financial eligibility. If a person is determined to have both a clinical need for treatment and be financially eligible for the BHF, then the BHF can pay for the person's SUD treatment services. Now I've been around the ringer in terms of treatment. I haven't heard of a lot of these terms. MCO, which, if you're not quite familiar with those four letters, if you rearrange them a little bit, COMMA, which is, comma, or coma if you take out one of the M's. I don't believe that these are terms that were ever used before. I don't believe it. And this SUD, SUD, I don't really think that that's a term that's that I've heard of before either. I've been to inpatient 5 times. SUD treatment services. What the fuck does... Oh, substance use disorder. Duh. And this is where it gets even more legitimate. Clinical eligibility. Clinical eligibility is based on the results of a Rule 25 chemical use assessment. This is a face-to-face interview conducted by a qualified assessor. I don't know if Mumbai doctor was the qualified assessor. He didn't really see him up to par on... He didn't really seem to give a shit. I know, shocker. The assessor gathers information using the Rule 25 assessment tool and the Minnesota Matrix. Parentheses DHS-5204B. End parentheses. For a PDF file. To determine clinical eligibility, a person who scores a severity rating of 2, 3, or 4 in dimension, they have this part in Roman numerals, 4, 5, or 6, meets clinical eligibility requirements for treatment. Peer recovery support and treatment coordination may be authorized with a severity rating of 1 or more in dimensions 4, 5, or 6. Now, what does that mean? Great question. We're going to click on the Minnesota Matrix PDF file after I'm done reading this. Minnesota Matrix. What a fucking shit show. A Rule 25 assessment using the Rule 25 assessment tool and Minnesota Matrix. This has got to be a joke, right? Is required for any person seeking public payment for SUD treatment services. Substance use disorder is SUD. Just jot that down in your notes in case you want to keep track of all the lingo and code words going on here on the Department of Human Services, Minnesota. Whether the person is assessed by his or her county or tribal nation of residence. Dude. Tribal nation of residents. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of them going to treatment. Thank you, internet. See, I think this is the internet looking out for me. There was a conversation topic that I brought up on one of the podcasts previously, one of the more recent ones, about missing persons in tribal nations and how the numbers are staggeringly higher than outside of tribal nations. But I'm going to stay focused on this right now. Financial eligibility. Financial eligibility has 2 parts. If a person has private insurance that covers 100% of the type and length of treatment he or she needs, he or she is not eligible for the BHF. The BHF is what again? Behavioral Health Fund. Jot that one down. If a person has less than 100% coverage, parentheses, that is, has a copay, a deductible, or an 80 to 20 policy, end parentheses, he or she may be eligible. The second part of financial eligibility is whether the person meets the BHF financial eligibility guidelines. The BHF financial eligibility guidelines are 133% of the Federal Poverty Guidelines, FPG. Jot that one down. Federal Poverty Guidelines, FPG. Based on the BHF definitions of household size and income. Find financial eligibility guidelines on the Substance Abuse Help Paying for Treatment webpage. Authorization requirements. Initial authorization. Fee-for-service. SUD treatment services may be pre-authorized by a county or tribal nation until July 1st, 2022. Okay, well that's fucking... I want updated articles. After the county or tribal nation determines that a person meets both the clinical and financial requirements for BHF eligibility, the county or tribal nation must complete a client placement authorization, CPA. Jot that one down. Client placement authorization, CPA. In parentheses, DHS-2780, end parentheses, for the PDF file there. Form. Recording the parameters of the service authorization. The county or tribal nation that then authorizes the services by creating a service agreement. SA. Jot that one down. Service agreement. SA. Ah, Jesus, I miss you. But I know Jesus is hard at work trying to help people. Not, not get eaten by a grizzly bear on purpose. Is that technically a suicide? How can you even tell if it's on purpose if you accidentally stumble across a mama bear and her cubs? You can't really, attract, run around in the woods and, scream really loudly because grizzly bears hate that kind of shit. They don't want to be around people. If they hear you in the woods, they're way more than likely gonna go the other way. Grizzly bears, that is. We're gonna do a little bear session. I talk about this in one of the previous episodes, at least I hope I do. I know I did. Grizzly bears, just carry a bell on you, maybe play some music or talk to yourself or whoever you're with. Because grizzly bears, they really don't like being in contact with humans. So if they hear you in the woods, they don't want anything to do with you unless it's unless they just got out of their hibernation cave. In which case, if they're fucking hungry after sleeping in a cave for fucking 6 months, maybe more than that. Which is such a weird thing to do as an animal. Why do bears hibernate? They can survive in the winter. They have the fur and they have thick ass fucking fur and skin to keep them warm. It's not like they're afraid of the cold and the snow. Why do bears hibernate? To the rusty trusty internet. Yeah, so the Minnesota Matrix is not to be mistaken with the Matrix Outlet Mall. No, I guess there's a lot of matrices here. Oh, what the hell? Okay, well, the heart. What? Do bears really hibernate? The bare necessities. The bare necessities. Britannica. Britannica. Anybody else fond of that website? I found they have all kinds of weird. They like anything I research is there's some form of something that I'm researching on Britannica. I'm starting to think that this is a website solely for Hayden Meyer. Like nobody else in the world even has this website on their fucking internet browser or anything. Huh. Oh, look at the pretty little bear. ScienceABC.com. We're going to do with that one. Science ABC. Bears hibernate in winter due to extremely cold temperatures and the scarcity of food. They become inactive to conserve energy during the challenging winter months because it's very challenging for an animal like a bear to survive the. Oh, it's so cold. Polar bears don't hibernate. And they're actually further north than all other bears. It's not cold and it's not too cold for them. They actually need it to be cold. Otherwise, they're all going to die. Who wouldn't like to go MIA and take a break from life? Oh God. Now we're talking. We are all guilty of pressing the snooze button every morning, but imagine what it would be like to have a slumber party for months. Imagine. Just come stare at a wall and talk into a microphone and wonder what the hell your life has become. With me. Bears get to do just that too. Don't worry, Hayden. During winter months, bears like the grizzly bear hibernate, snoozing all the way to spring. Phrases like "were you hibernating" and "slept like a bear" originate from the bears disappearing for months on end. Except for the bowlers. Hibernation is an adaptive move by animals in winter. It is a survival strategy when the environment is harsh and food is scarce. That kind of makes sense. But there's still moose around. There's still deer. I mean, in Alaska, they don't have white-tailed deer, but they have a shit ton of caribou. Yes, there's no salmon, so that's their main source of food. It is a state of inactivity where animals conserve energy so that they do not have to hunt in winter. Hibernation is characterized by a drop in body temperatures. The kind of hibernation that an animal undergoes depends on the level of drop in temperatures. Deep hibernators drop their body temperatures to 5 degrees Celsius, where areas bears undergo torpor, which is a mild form of hibernation. Winter brings in extremely low temperatures, making it difficult for plants to bear fruits, and animals are difficult to hunt. This makes it challenging to meet the daily calorie requirement for animals. Undergoing hibernation allows animals to utilize their calories at a slower rate when there is a scarcity of food. Raccoons, chipmunks, snakes, box turtles, toads, woodchucks, squirrels, and deer mice also hibernate. Oh, God. Predictive dormancy versus consequential dormancy. Hibernation is not only reserved for mammals, there are also reptiles and insects that hibernate as well. Mammals enter consequential dormancy, where areas reptiles undergo predictive dormancy. Yeah, who cares? They don't even shit when they're hibernating. It's kind of like a coma, but they do it willingly. And they don't shit or piss when they're doing it. Can you imagine not shitting while you're in a coma for months? Do you shit when you're in a coma? Do people poop in a coma? These are the need to know questions, people. The ICU. See, I knew it. This lady has a YouTube video with almost 130,000 views of paraplegic morning routine. How I poop. So I'm just gonna, yeah. I just watched a video on comas, 5 minute or 5.5 minute video, a little animated thing, and yeah, I'm pretty sure the government wants me to shoot up a fucking school or something at this point. Which I will not do. Not gonna do it. I won't. I don't want to. You know, I just don't want to do that. Or I'm just paying for sins in purgatory. Huh. What do you think? Should I leave that as a poll for nobody to answer? Note, pre-authorization by a county or tribal nation is not required for withdrawal management services provided by a licensed withdrawal management program faculty provider under the requirements of Minnesota Statutes 245F. A service agreement letter is generated and sent to your MN-ITS mailbox. What? A letter is sent to the member authorized to receive the services. The service agreement letter provides documentation about the services that are authorized. You may request documentation of the completed and signed client placement authorization for each member before admission. You cannot bill MHCP for BHF. Ain't that a fucking mouthful? Authorized services until you receive an approved service agreement letter. You must contact the authorizing county or tribal nation if you have not received a service agreement letter. Having a copy of the client placement authorization is often helpful in getting the county or tribal nation to process the authorization. Request duplicate letters from the authorizing county or tribal nation. Check the next episode, or I don't even know when I'm going to do it. I got a few episodes I want to do. I was going to order them I should have done a lot more episodes. It's a damn shame. That's what fake research about a fake coma dream will do to you. You know. Don't you dare start trying to remember. Don't you dare start trying to remember who you are as a person and what has happened to you, Hayden. How dare you? You know, I've recorded almost 60 episodes of this podcast, and I've listened to all of them at least 2 times after I recorded them. I listened to all of them right after I record just to make sure it is edited. I don't edit any of the audio. I just want to make sure AI Hayden or whoever the hell is minding his own business. So I've listened to every single episode at least twice. Some of them more than I would like to admit. And there's some of them where I'm like, dude, I don't even remember talking about this at all. And it reminds me of an idea I had as a child. This isn't a theory, not even a theory, just like an invention, but not even really that either. Just an idea. Back when I was really into like watching Netflix, shit like that. I started watching. I watched Lost because I watched Lost as a kid with my mom. But I don't think we ever finished watching the show. We kind of stopped watching after Charlie died. So I watched Lost when I was like 12, 13, probably 13. Same time as the prank call. And then I watched Prison Break. And after I watched both of those shows, I was like, damn, dude, those are both pretty good shows. And you can't ever like relive or re-experience like watching a show that you love for the first time. And I thought that was kind of fucking bullshit. I was like, man, I wonder if there'd be a way to like erase my memory. This is what I thought when like almost half my life ago. I wonder if there'd be a way to erase. I thought it would be like a machine technology, but no. I'll do you one better. That would just erase my memory of the entire show. Nothing else. Like, nothing outside of uh, my experience watching the show and everything that happened in the show and everything I thought about the show. I thought that'd be kind of maybe a decent idea. I don't know. I was 13. My brain is done developing at 25. I thought, that'd be kind of fun and interesting to just erase my memory of Prison Break or Lost or what's another? I mean, Game of Thrones. The Ring of Honor. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that show. The Ring of Honor. God damn, is that a classic? Once you watch it once, you're like, man, what the fuck? Can I just, like, I wish I could just erase my memory of just this show. And watch it again and re experience the greatness that is the Ring of Honor. And when I listen back to some of my episodes, I'm like, I think back on them. I remember, my life. As, it's a constant reoccurring topic lately in my personal life, mentally. Of just, memories just going away. Suppression of memories, suppression of emotions, blocking. There's a difference between memory erasing, memory blocking, and memory suppression. I've come to find out. I'm not doing a bit here, and this is not schizophrenia. So when there's been a memory erasal or a memory wipe, that's when something is, usually it's a new idea that I haven't really thought of before, or I didn't really delve too insanely deep in terms of the thought process of thinking it out word for word and all the details that are encompassed in it. And maybe that's just a part of it is part of it is because of just blacking out certain memories due to them not being too, some of them aren't too, good. But those are the ones I remember. Those are the ones you never forget. The ones you do forget are like someday driving around downtown doing deliveries and seeing some crazy shit. Like an entire street. I just remembered, I thought about that a few weeks ago, but an entire street in St. Paul that was like completely filled with like shops and shit that I had never even seen before. But, there's a difference between a memory wipe, and this is when, and it's different. I can tell the difference between like an attempted, kind of like a fake pussy wipe, like very weak, almost like, and then there's also a difference between a gradual wipe. So, a gradual wipe is when it slowly becomes not part of something that you think about for a certain amount of time, and then you just kind of forget it. But I'm just, I've been wondering lately, Is that because there's blockers, memory blockers? And I'm going to disprove simulation theory again, pretty much. I know I did it on I Love You and I Love You Too, but that wasn't substantial enough for me. That wasn't good enough. Not on this episode. You have to go to the Patreon for that one. Just kidding. Haha, gotcha. There's a difference between, but I've noticed, like, am I just being steered on a path where I don't think about certain memories or certain things that may help me see the light again? It's something to think about, considering God and Jesus have told me quite a few times that I'm going to see the light again tonight. Just go to sleep. Next time you sleep, you'll see the light. Nothing happens. And I just am like, man, what is the point of having all this happen? Nah. There's really no point in experiencing all these things if they're just gonna be wiped from my memory. Now, I did say this a couple months ago. Maybe if I just forget everything about who I am, maybe then God and Jesus will accept me into the light. I haven't tried that yet. I was kind of joking, but the next time I went to sleep, I woke up, and it was the most hardcore memory wipe that I've ever experienced in my entire life. None of this happened before like a year ago. None of it. This is all because of the fake coma dream. Taking advantage of a fake coma dream, in which I did research on coma dreams after I heard AI War Mode talk about coma dreams on their podcast, which they probably didn't even do. If I hadn't heard them talk about it, I probably wouldn't even know what the fuck coma dreams are. Well, they're not. I said what coma dreams are. They're not real. They're not real. But if I hadn't heard War Mode mention coma dreams one single time, that's the only time I've ever heard of a coma dream mentioned from any form of entertainment. One podcast, one time. And I looked it up, and I read a bunch of probably fake stories about people who had all these kind of insane, crazy dreams, which I go, just listen to the other episodes, for God's sakes. Back to the memory thing. I can tell when I am thinking about certain things. This has happened dozens, if not over 100 times. I'm not joking right now. And the thing that I was just thinking about, gone. Just completely gone. And a year ago, when this started happening, I I would usually like retrace my steps and my thought process. I would think about what I was thinking about before I thought about the thing that I was forced to forget. And I'd usually, back then, it was much easier. This is what I call a gradual uh, uh, implementation of a system that I don't agree with at all, that I don't think is humane or moral or right. It back then it was barely happening. It would only happen when I was really stoned on pot, and due to the all the other countless fucking things, the fake tumor, which is, dude, don't even. I'm not even gonna fucking get into that right now. You got the carbon monoxide exposure, the drugs, the head injuries, possible concussions. Uh, things like that. I don't think I have a tumor. I might. But, like, just the fact that a lot of my jokes portrayed into, like, reality. I've seen it so many times. And no, I'm not doing a bit. No, it's not hallucination. Some of it's hallucinations. Some of it's not. All right. But I'm doing this just in case humanity is at risk of whatever the hell's going on to me. Suppression would be like, no, Hayden, you're not going to think about this right now. No, 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 no. You're not allowed to think right now. Stop. Blocking would be like literally, like blocking off certain memories or thoughts. And that could either be based off of thought insertion, telepathic communication with, whoever, your higher power. And this is the thing. This is all probably, I hope to God, to save humanity or whatever from AI. That's what I tell myself. I know I'm not in hell. Because there's been quite a few times where I've literally been like, all right, so I'm in hell then. This is hell. Nice. Just kind of joking, but not really. Hell would be a lot worse. I know that. But there's been at least 2, maybe 3 times. I know 2 for a fact. Not many more than that. Because after you tell yourself, oh, okay, so I'm in hell, and it gets significantly worse in pretty much every aspect, you don't really do that again. You don't really be like, oh, okay, let's do that one again. Let's try that again. Let's go ride the wild thing again. So when I do that, it gets a lot worse. So I don't really do that anymore. And that's the thing. I'm not really worried about these things, but when shit just continues to pile on. It breaks a man's spirit. It breaks his will. It breaks his will to live. To even like want to go to this, like to even like go to the store or have breakfast at the diner. Mid-treatment authorization for the Rule 25. A member may be approved and referred for treatment by one placing authority and then experience a change in his or her eligibility or enrollment. You notice I was a lot funnier at the beginning of the episode and now I'm kind of not? This is the thing. That coma video, the little animated fucking dipshit asshole was like, yeah, now you're not going to be able to make any jokes, Brainiac. And I was like, it's a weird thing to say when talking about comas. And I'm like, huh. And this is what I talk about. Oh, Hayden, that was actually thought insertion or telepathic communication with the disciples or the Holy Spirit and or God and Jesus. What's wrong with that? The only thing I see wrong with that is I feel like I'm kind of like taking their attention or time away from somebody who literally has the barrel of a shotgun in their mouth. And they're like praying, and the disciples are all like, wait, send him, do this one, send him this joke. He's talking about drugs again. I got a good bit on Rule 25s. Now, I don't know how all that works in terms of attention and focus on higher powers and the disciples, all that kind of shit. I don't really know how. I don't even know if anybody in the world really thinks about some of these things. Because, I mean, why would you? I guess the main reason I think about it is because, I mean, I just don't want somebody to have to go through, like, blowing their brain chunks on the roof of their car because Hayden was fucking around with his telepathic communication with God or Jesus. Hayden, why are you turning away from God? That's why you're going to hell. It's literally with the best intentions of all time possible. And I may look like a jackass or a dude who's like, they're like, that's like, actually not religious or not faithful or yada, yada, yada. Well, I wonder why. I'm kidding. Do you know your Bible, Hayden? Well, I downloaded a Bible as an app, and it had a bunch of scripture that was not legitimate, talking about whales in the book of Genesis. Go back and listen to Sim 6. I think I talk about whales in that one, like a lot. And I'm like, I pull out my Bible, and there ain't no mention of whales. I would read my Bible, the physical book, but it's a teen Bible. And I'm not a teen. I need an adult Bible. Hmm. Does anybody know how to use a syringe? I mean, like when you're, that's the other thing about comas. They have a lot in common with like people who are really depressed. Just lazy excuse makers who don't really like to get out of bed and like to use drugs to try to cope with it, blame other people and things for their problems. No, no, don't pull the plug. I'm literally stuck in a stuck in a dream. They're not real. Stuck in a coma due to the drugs that you force into my fucking bloodstream, which is what I read is true from the internet. Goodness gracious. I started talking about some of this shit and it gets all dreary, but I care about people and humans. And I haven't had like 100% like faith in God and Jesus like for most of my life, so that's what I've been trying to do the last few months ever since the purgatory episode. And I'm starting to be like, faith in what, man? I want to. That's the whole point of it. I haven't really done that in my life, and it's like things just keep getting fucking worse in terms of yeah, whatever. I'm joking. Life's great. It's wonderful. I could be in hell. I could be in hell with all those fucking losers. So could you. But I'll talk all about the J-Man on the next step. That's why you need a shocker. I need to go smoke a cigarette outside. Whoa, we're already over an hour. Woohoo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! We did it! So, I'm just gonna read off. I'm gonna start reading some excerpts from the DSM-5. Fuck Rule 25s, dude. I'm just gonna start reading some of these. The DSM-5. If you don't know it, it's a good read. Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Ooh. So this is before they start delving into. This is even before. This is before the preface. The DSM-5 classification. This is why I wanted to start reading this, because this is truly bizarre to me. This kind of ties in with the Rule 25 code lingo shit. Before each disorder name, ICD-9-CM codes are provided, followed by ICD-10-CM codes in parentheses. Blank lines indicate that either the ICD-9-CM or the ICD-10-CM code is not applicable. For some disorders, the code can be indicated only according to the subtype or specifier. ICD-9-CM codes are to be used for coding purposes in the United States through September 30th, 2014. ICD-10-CM codes are to be used starting October 1st, 2014. Following chapter titles and disorder names, page numbers for the corresponding text or criteria are included in parentheses. Note, for all mental disorders due to another medical condition, indicate the name of the other medical condition and the name of the mental disorder due to the medical condition. The coded name for the other medical condition should be listed first immediately before the mental disorder due to the mental condition. Lingo. So they just have all these fucking... So let's just go to one of the specific... Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD. So it says ADHD in parentheses is 59. And then below that, specify whether combined presentation, predominantly inattentive presentation, predominantly hyperactive/impulsive presentation. Specify if in partial remission. Specify current severity. Mild, moderate, severe. Other specified attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. In parentheses, after that is 65. Unspecified attention deficit/hyperactivity disorder, in parentheses, 66. But before that, there's... So for combined presentation, you have 314.01, in parentheses, F90.2, and then predominantly inattentive presentation, 314.00, in parentheses, F90.0. And it just has all these weird fucking codes for all this shit. And I don't even think they mean anything. I don't think they mean anything. Elimination disorders. What? Oh, that's yeah. I'll get to those. To clarify about Yesoma dreams or Yesomas, comas. I know I'm not in a coma dream because I have not had any access to really any of my senses. I've never heard any, well, aside from the fake nothings. Reading my mind and responding to my thoughts, that's not loved ones sitting by your bed trying to wake you up from a coma. I have never heard a heart rate or heartbeat monitor. The couple times I did, I tried to focus on it, and it just went away as soon as I started focusing on the sound. Literally, I would hear like beeping, and I'd be like, "What? What the fuck is? Am I really in a coma dream?" And it would just go away as soon as I focused on it. So I have not had any access to any senses from my fake comatose self. What else? This is where the memory suppression is kicking in. I can already feel it. Senses. Oh yeah, for a 90 to 100 day period back in the early at the beginning of the year, after God, or should I say Jesus, told me to drive up north to my dad's cabin and that I would see the light there. Just go north to the cabin and you'll see the light. referring to the vision of eternal heaven, I did exactly that. I'm like, man, that's a sign. You know, I can tell when Jesus is like talking to me. He's like, he told me to go fucking north to the cabin. I would see the light there. And after I left the cabin talking to my dad, I came to the realization, I'm like, none of this like fighting with myself or with what I didn't know was Jesus at the time, but I know now. Like, I don't care about all these like mind games and petty like childish adolescent bullshit with like, I hate feeling like I need to write shit down to remember it, to be like looking at it or reading it later being like, see, I'm right about this. This is why I need to stop being threatened with hell all the time and being fucked with all the time. See, I hate doing that. I hate it. But I remember literally driving off the property and what's the word I'm looking for? Getting this sense of Jesus was telling me, what you've been looking for is right around the corner. And I simultaneously got like an image of my cousin. And I haven't really, talked to her much at all. She kind of blocked my number. I wonder if the fake coma dream had anything to do with that. That's not a hallucination. My mother went to church for the first time, or she watched church online for the first time in almost 3 years last week. That's not a hallucination. What was it? Oh, yeah. So after I left the cabin, I was like, man, I'm going to do anything I can to prove to myself that this is a dream or not. Because that's how I felt leaving the cabin. I'm like, I just want to see that whole light thing is a fucking fucked up scenario. I'll talk about it on a different episode, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know. But I remember thinking, all right, I've watched things appear out of thin air multiple times, and I have watched, like, literally buildings and businesses show up, poof, out of nowhere, like, not even overnight sometimes, like, in a matter of minutes. And I've talked to people about some of these things. And I remember thinking, if I can just get one thing to show up in my room exactly the way I want it, how I want it, when I want it, what I want, like anything. Literally anything. Not the fucking name on the Shutter Island credit scene. Literally one fucking, like, object or material item. I mean, I was really hoping to, like, have some drugs show up just so I can be like, all right, I'm going to drive to the bridge now and jump off so I can wake up from this nightmare. And you know how many things showed up. If you're in a dream, a coma dream, I don't think it's too outlandish to expect to be able to make an object appear out of thin air. Now, for not one single thing to show up out of thin air in like in the course of 100 days, And I was fucking beating myself up back then. I was like becoming hopeless. I'm like, what do I got to do to like have something like that happen? Because I'll do it. I was very, very serious about going to the bridge and jumping right off, taking a leap of faith. And nothing ever showed up, ever. Nothing. Not one single thing the way I wanted, you know? So that told me this ain't a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a coma dream. It's just not. Otherwise, something would have showed up. And you know why nothing showed up? Because God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and the disciples all knew that I was dead ass serious about literally like killing myself to wake up from a dream in order to like, and it's not a dream, it's purgatory. So literally they knew, obviously with God and Jesus all things are possible, except living in the ocean for like a year or even a day. That's something I said as a third grader. Whenever people said anything is possible, they never would say any with God anything is possible. Those fucking losers. But yeah, they knew I was serious about quote unquote killing myself to wake up from a dream. That's why nothing showed up in the room. Because if it was a dream or a coma dream, which is what is constantly brought up lately as to why my life is so shit still, because you're in a coma dream and you should kill yourself to wake up. That's the vibe I get. Well, that ain't true. And we all know that. So, don't kill yourself. It'll be worth it. That's what Jesus told me. And I was dead ass serious. I would have gone to the bridge and done exactly that. But it's not a coma dream. So rest assured, all of you, it's purgatory. And that's exactly why nothing showed up, because they knew I was very serious about that. That's how much I wanted to wake up and or, you know, see the light. And I say the light because for a while there I thought the light was, and the other side of the light wasn't heaven but real life. That's how real all the senses are. And when seeing the light, it felt like real life. And I'm living my life right now. So yeah. And I already know I lived a previous life. That's because a month after I saw the light, I said, yeah, I talk about all that. I keep repeating. Does anybody here in this listening audience consider the pick 3 a lottery winning? I don't. 1 in 1,000 odds. It's not really a lottery, if you ask me. If you include all the money I've spent on Powerballs and Mega Millions, Go for Fives, North Fives, Lotto Americas, and the Pick 3, statistically speaking, I would have gotten the right numbers on one of the Pick 3s by now. Just by, like, literally spending money. That amount of money. Miss Pat, the big black chick, who's on Joe Rogan a lot. She was talking about how she used to play the pick 3 all the time. She'd win all the fucking time. Just quick pick 3. She'd win once a week, she said. Or some shit like that. I don't know. It wasn't once a week, but she said she would win all the fucking time. You call that a lottery? Listen here. All right, we're done. We're done here. I'm done with this episode.